everybody, it's Bryan again, and welcome to another installment of There You Go with Bryan. Today is going to be a little bit different. By the way, I want to thank everybody for checking out the I Love Lucy vlog, how that whole show came about. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's the vlog just right before this one. It's a good one. But today we're doing something a little bit different. We are back at Memorial Park in Skokie, Illinois, and we're kind of following up on a story that I heard about recently, and I found it really interesting. I didn't know a whole lot about this. It's about a young lady who was born Roberta Lynn Cupsinet. And if that last name sounds a little unusual and a little bit familiar to you, it's probably because you are from Chicago and maybe you're over the age of 35. Her father, his name was Irv Cupsinet. He was a reporter for the Chicago Sun-Times, and he also had a TV show for a lot of years here in Chicago. He started out going to Northwestern, and then he became a football player, got an injury, then became a sports writer, and then eventually wound up doing a column in the Sun-Times about entertainment, celebrities, that kind of thing. If you were a big star back in the day, like a Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr., Marilyn Monroe, or something like that, and you came through town, there's a pretty good chance that you had lunch with Irv Cupsinet at the Pump Room. And because he would hang out a lot there and interview these celebrities, and you read about it in the paper. Anyway, he and his wife Essie had one daughter, and her name was Roberta Lynn Cupsinet. But everybody called her Karen, or her childhood nickname of Cookie. Now this vlog is mainly about Karen and what happened to her. We're here at Memorial Park because Karen passed away at the young age of 22. She always had a dramatic kind of artistic leaning to her. She started doing plays when she was 13, 14 years old. She wound up in a production of The Anniversary Waltz, and then she went on to attend a place called Pine Manor College. She did that for a semester, and then she went on to New York to study at the Actors Studio. Now, after doing local theater for quite a number of years, Karen eventually made her way out to Hollywood and wanted to chase after her dreams of fame and fortune. So in December of 1962, Karen filmed a guest star appearance on The Wild Country and had her first meeting with one of the series stars, and his name was Andrew Prine. They took a liking to each other, eventually started dating, and it turned into a full-fledged relationship. Although the relationship, by most counts, was always troubled, they fought a lot. Karen had developed the habit of using diet pills. She was constantly concerned, even from a young age, with her body image. And of course, once she went out to Hollywood, it didn't get any better. Now, Karen wanted the relationship with Andrew Prine to be an exclusive one, and he didn't. And it drove her over the edge. They wound up fighting more and more. Eventually, he started dating other people. She started spying on Prine, trying to find out who his latest girlfriend was, and it just went downhill from there. Now, this is where it gets kind of strange. Andrew Prine started getting these letters taped to his front door of his apartment. And they were just like you used to see in the old movies, where they were all the letters were cut out of a magazine and pieced together to make a threatening statement. Karen called up Andrew and said, "I'm getting the same letters." Now, what the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department figured out later was that they alleged that Karen was making these notes herself. Complicated, I suppose, but in her mind, she felt that if somehow she could bring her and Andrew together so they could talk about whoever was writing these notes to them that were threatening letters, somehow they could get together and reunite. It didn't quite work that way. Now, if you're like me, you spend a lot of time when you come to these cemeteries just being lost. I know the section and I know the lot, but sometimes it can be challenging. So let's go out there and see if we can find Karen and get a little bit closer to the truth of what happened back in 1963. Now, on the last day of Karen's life, She had dinner with Mark Goddard. You may remember him as one of the main actors in Lost in Space, and his wife Marcia in Beverly Hills. They had her over for dinner. They said she acted strange the entire evening. She complained of her lips being numb, and she held her head at strange angles. They asked her what was wrong. She wouldn't answer them, and then eventually she broke down and started crying, saying that there was a baby that was left on her doorstep earlier that morning. She stayed there for a few hours, had dinner, and then called for a cab to go home. Now, Mark Goddard had told police that Karen said she would call them later to let them know that she was doing okay. She never called. Now, Karen apparently went straight home after leaving the Goddard's place. And then when she was at home, she was visited by freelance writer Edward Stephen Rubin shortly afterwards. The two were then joined by actor Robert Hathaway around 9:30 p.m. They told detectives that they watched TV, including the Danny Kaye show with Karen. They all drank coffee until Karen fell asleep on the couch. And then they said they slipped out around 11:30 at night, locked the door behind them. Now, Hathaway and Rubin said that they returned to his place and were later joined by Kupcinet's ex-boyfriend, Andrew Bryan, who was also Hathaway's neighbor. The three young men watched television and talked until around 3 in the morning. The Goddards went over to Karen's apartment on November the 30th after not having heard from her. Now, Mark Goddard and his wife, Marcia, had not heard from Karen for a couple of days, so they went over to her apartment to see what was wrong. When they came inside, Mark said to police that it looked like there had been a big fight inside the apartment. Everything was torn up, and he found Karen laying on the couch in a state of undress. Upon searching Karen's apartment, investigators of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department found some prescription drugs, but nothing that really stuck out that would be problematic in her death. The authorities also found a note written by Karen that reflected in some detail her emotions regarding issues in her life. For instance, self-image problems, boyfriend problems, issues with her parents, and people that she admired. I know we must be getting close here. It's got to be in this section somewhere nearby. At least the wind has died down a little. So after coming to Hollywood, California to chase her dream, Karen's death was classified as a homicide. Of course, the Los Angeles County Sheriff Department named Andrew Bryan as one of their chief suspects. When questioned by law enforcement, Bryan said he had talked with Karen twice by phone on Wednesday, the day before her murder, claiming he was trying to patch up a lover's quarrel between them. Detectives considered it possible that after Bryan learned the anonymous threat letters were from Karen, that maybe he lost his temper and they had a fight and things ended up badly. Now, investigators from the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Office determined that the story Kupcinet had told the Goddards about an abandoned baby was false. No reports were made of any abandoned children in her building or in her neighborhood, for that matter. They also decided that after doing an autopsy, they found that she had a broken hyoid bone in her throat, and they suspected that she was strangled. Whew. I tell you, I had to get back in the car. It was so cold. I'm just going to warm up a little bit, but it'll give me a chance to get out of the wind and tell you a little bit more of this story. Now, during the course of their investigation, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department named Andrew Bryan as one of their chief suspects. In addition, both Edward Rubin and Robert Hathaway, the two men who had possibly been the last to see her alive, were friends of Bryan. They were also eventually named as suspects. Now, in 1988, Kupcinet's father, Irv, published a memoir in which he revealed that he and his wife, Essie, believed that Andrew Bryan had nothing to do with their daughter's death. He was very suspicious, though, of another person who was still alive. He didn't mention the other person. Now this is where things get really strange. Okay, you have to remember Karen died basically a week after the JFK assassination. Now, this next bit of information was first mentioned in 1967 by a researcher named Penn Jones Jr. in a self-published book, Forgive My Grief Too. Jones cited an Associated Press wire service story about an unidentified woman who placed a phone call on November 22nd, 1963, from the vicinity of Oxnard, California, about 50 miles northwest of Los Angeles. And Jones claims this woman was Karen, the woman who dialed her local operator roughly 20 minutes before the shooting of President Kennedy in Dallas, stated that he was going to be shot. Jones alleged that Karen Kupcinet was attempting to warn someone of the impending assassination. Jones also claimed that she was told of the imminent assassination by her father, Irv, who allegedly had been given advance notice by Jack Ruby, the Dallas nightclub owner who fatally shot President Kennedy's accused assassin Lee Harvey Oswald. Jones speculated that Irv Kupcinet may have met Jack Ruby in Chicago in the 1940s. Author Jones speculated that Karen Kupcinet had been murdered by representatives of the mob who silenced her and sent a message to her father to remain silent about why President Kennedy and Lee Harvey Oswald had been shot and who was actually responsible. Now, I have to say that Irv Kupcinet denied this emphatically, and he said that his daughter never had any prior knowledge of the shooting of the president or Lee Harvey Oswald. We're getting very close. I think it's got to be right up here somewhere on the corner. So let's see what we can find. This is a beautiful old cemetery built in 1913. And like I said, I think we're getting close here. It's supposed to be somewhere around the corner. And it's kind of a pinkish stone, as I believe. And oh, there it is. There we go. Kupcinet. It's a family stone. Right here. As you can hear by the crunching of my boots on the snow, it's definitely icy out here. And there you go. The Kupcinet family burial area here. I'm guessing there's probably a stone. Well, it must be on the other side because it's not here. Let's look over here on this side. See if we can work our way through this ice. Well, it's not here. Have to be somewhere. Well, I tell you what, I've looked all around here and I can't find the exact marker. There's one other place that I did a little bit of research trying to put this together from some photographs, and it seems that it's possible there might be some kind of markers over. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Oh, I just found it. Here it is right here. This is, let me get my gloves here. Oh, this is Karen's mom, Essie Kupcinet, mother, grandmother. That must mean another one here. And this is Irv. Hello, Irv. This is the father, right here. Devoted father, Irv Kupcinet. Passed away in 2003. That must mean, Karen, where are you? Show us where you're at, Karen. Yep, here we go. Here we go. Now we found you. This is Karen Cookie Kupcinet. That was her nickname from when she was a little girl. Darling Cookie, Karen Cups in it. I won't try to push too much on this. I don't want to hurt anything, but that's ice frozen right on there. There you go. Passed away in 1963. There you go. Well, we finally found Karen, who made her long trip out to Hollywood, California to chase her dreams. It didn't end quite the way she wanted. Passed away at a tender age of 22. But we did find you today, Karen. And here I brought you a little something sparkly. I figure you're in show business. Almost 60 years since probably like something sparkly. Karen's untimely death at the age of 22. And still nobody has been brought to justice for her murder. And some of the suspects are still alive. And I always hold out hope that, you know, as people get older, sometimes they look back on life, they have regrets. Maybe they spoke to somebody, maybe they said something, and maybe there might be a way for Karen to get a little bit of justice. It's always heartbreaking when somebody doesn't get the justice that they deserve, and certainly she does too. Barely had a chance to start her life. But at any rate, I understand actually that Karen's niece is writing a book. It's still in the works, but you know, you can look around for that and see if maybe they're finishing that up soon. But at any rate, at least we got Karen's story out here, and if anybody out there sees this and they might have some way to bring a little bit of peace to this family, then maybe this will have been all worth it. So until next time, what can I say? But there you go, and God rest Karen. Cookie Cups in it.